Hello guys, gals and M-Pals, and welcome to a video where we're not doing an intro today because this is a serious topic with a serious thing that's just really annoying me.
Well, if it's seriously annoying you, it must be an issue of very much importance.
So, chuck up a trans flag and let's get on with this.
So it's a trans issue we're dealing with here. Well, let me chuck up my American flag and I'll even do an intro. Hey everyone, and welcome back. So today we have some dude who wants to revisit the argument that made Riley Dennis infamous. The good old, is it transphobic to not be into trannies? Now I know this shit has been done to death, but this guy thinks he made a breakthrough argument in favor of the Riley Dennis side. And I never addressed the argument in the first place because I started my channel long after everyone took their swings at Riley. So let's check this out. And just be warned, I may skip through the original video a lot because this guy is really repetitive and likes to talk. But the original is linked below if you want to check it out.
So, in today's topic, we're going to be discussing the issue around trans people.
You calling trans people the issue? A little transphobic, but carry on.
Specifically around you being attracted to or dating trans people, and whether, if you refuse to do that, you're transphobic.
Well, I'm not attracted to trans people, not really my cup of tea, but I'm also not transphobic, so I guess the answer would be no. Same answer it's been any other time someone's brought up this bullshit topic.
Now, I see no end of Twitter or Reddit posts by mostly bisexual or lesbian women discussing how all of these trans women are coming to force them to sleep with them.
Well, they kind of are, and when the lesbian in question refuses or says they're not into that, they're harassed endlessly online for the next 2 or 3 years. They leave the political left due to this harassment, and then get harassed for leaving the group that harassed her for wrong thing to begin with. The tolerant left.
And I've never seen a trans person in my life go up to someone and say, hey, you have to sleep with me because I'm trans. That's never happened.
Well, it is happening. They're just using this idea that you're transphobic if you don't sleep with them instead of just coming out and saying it.
What I have seen quite often is this idea that, hey, if the only reason that you're refusing to either date or sleep with me is because I'm trans, then that might be because of some internal or passive or subconscious transphobia that you might have around trans individuals.
It has nothing to do with internalized anything. Whether it's a one-night stand or a dating relationship, sex is gonna be part of the equation, and sexual orientation is all about what genitals you prefer to go with your own genitals. Therefore, me not being into trans women due to the fact that they are likely to have a penis isn't internalized transphobia. It's 100% due to the fact that I don't like dick. I'm a heterosexual male, meaning I am turned on by biological females. Doesn't mean I have a problem with trans women. I'm friends with a few in real life. I just don't want to sleep with them, and I'm wondering why that's all of a sudden not okay with you fuck-ups when you're the side that preaches consent to the point you want me to ask permission before every single pelvic thrust when I'm shagging someone.
I.e., you might be transphobic if you refuse to do it purely for that reason.
No, I'm not. It doesn't matter how well I get along with a woman, she could be a perfect match for me in every way. But that ding-dong swinging where I thought a hole was gonna be is gonna be a deal breaker.
Now, what I mean by that is that say you, as you are right now, see someone that you're attracted to.
This is gonna be a bit of a bullshit argument considering he's using the imagery of two gay guys, and I say that because I looked up an artificial penis, and trust me, it would be very noticeable. And something that this guy is not gonna be able to unsee. The shit I do for this channel when I'm not even getting paid to do it.
You think they're looking fine. You want to go and sleep with them.
Jeez, dude, not even gonna take him to dinner first? Damn, at least have some class about it.
And when you get to making out with them and whatever, and you find that they have the genitals that are your preference, it all goes well and smoothly.
At least until the other person never calls back. Then it's downhill as you think about the one that got away.
And then afterwards they tell you, I'm trans. I was born as a gender different to the one that I currently live as and identify as. And you then go, okay, well, I can't be attracted to you anymore because I don't like trans people.
Not liking trans people, fair enough.
Or I'm not attracted to trans people.
Okay, now addressing this whole argument. Out of all the things that never happen, this never happens the most. If the person has the genitals I want, then there's not an issue because that means she's a biological woman. Any genital discrepancy would be discovered when clothing came off, and I would have a chance to leave before anything happened. And no, a full transition doesn't make this statement any different because there's also the factor of this person leaving out information they should have disclosed earlier. This also isn't exclusive to trans people, as I would have the same reaction to a woman that was 300 pounds more than her POF profile picture let on. My point being, it's all about honesty, and if I'm gonna date and eventually sleep with someone, I need to be able to trust them. That trust is broken if I'm not told important information like the fact that they're trans. Now, that's not to say they have to make a big, huge deal about the fact that they're trans. I understand that the point of transitioning is to live life as the gender they feel they are. But they still have to acknowledge that they are biologically different and that a potential partner should know about this factor up front. If you can't be honest with me about that identity, then how do I know whether or not you're going to be honest about other things that could be key information, such as STDs or recent trips to China?
This isn't about obvious blatant transphobia, right? I'm not saying that you're literally being transphobic to them in a very clear and obvious way.
Oh, I get it now. I'm not being transphobic by not dating or fucking a trans person. I'm just being transphobic by not dating or fucking a trans person. Silly me.
But by your actions and by the way that you are clarifying your preferences in this sort of case, it's kind of transphobic. Much the same way that if someone was into somebody and then found out that they were, I don't know, half black or something, and they went, oh, sorry, I'm not into black people, that would be considered racist.
Not really a comparable scenario, considering the only way your race affects your bedroom performance is if you're a black or Asian male.
Because up until that point, you were into it, and then you found out one thing that doesn't really affect much, and your brain just goes, no, I can't do that anymore.
Here's the problem. The reason people are put off by not finding out until it comes to sexy time is honesty. A lot of people will be respectful if the trans person in question is upfront about it because they can respectfully make sure nothing happens that they're not going to be interested in. Keeping it a secret is what rubs people the wrong way, and that has a lot to do with honesty. I'm going to skip ahead about 30 seconds because he starts repeating himself as if that's going to make his argument any better.
Now, there are two counter-arguments that come to this that I have seen, and they're really bad counter-arguments.
Excuse me, but I will be the judge of that. Thank you.
But I'm going to prepare for the worst here. The first one is about long-term relationships and how a lot of trans people quite often can't have children. And to that end, if your aim is to have children and you're talking long-term relationships, then sure.
Oh, you hear that, guys? We found a loophole. Just say it's because you want to have children and you're allowed to have your genital preferences.
But you'd have the same conversation with a cis woman or a cis man who was unable to have kids as well, right? And a lot of people can work through that and do adoptions, or there's a whole bunch of fertility treatment stuff.
Okay, you can fuck right the hell off with that argument, jackass. I have friends who deal with infertility, and it's not as simple as, oh well, let's just adopt. It's a really emotional thing for them, and it's really disgusting that you're using that as an excuse to bully people into dating trans folks. Especially considering there are people that are willing to date trans people, and they already acknowledge that they're not going to be able to have biological children.
So that's not necessarily a deal breaker for a lot of people, and if you're using that as an excuse for just not wanting to be with a trans person, it's transphobic again. It's come back round to being transphobic.
Well, shit, there goes the loophole. Sorry guys, false alarm. Anyway, I'm going to skip over the part where he uses chromosomes as the second counter argument, as I've never heard that argument used ever, so we can consider that a straw man as well.
And yet again, I wanted to make it very clear, I am not telling you, LGB people of the world...
Hey, you forgot the rest of the letters, numbers, and Roman numerals that make up that acronym, you bigot.
That you have to go and sleep with all the trans people. What I am saying here, though, is that if you, as a lesbian woman, bi woman, gay man, bi man, whatever, are attracted to a person, and you want to be with them, and you want to sleep with them, or whatever, just, we're going to say about hookups right now, because I don't want to get into the topic of having kids and stuff.
So we're just addressing the sluts, not the people who want relationships. Way to convince us that this isn't trying to bully people into sleeping with trannies, my dude.
But you want to sleep with them, and then you find out that they are, in fact, trans, and that's the thing that stops you wanting to sleep with them anymore? That is, inherently speaking, a decision on your part to be transphobic.
Oh my god, shut the actual fuck up with this bullshit. You tried to claim this wasn't you trying to demand people sleep with trannies, but you're doing literally that by suggesting they're transphobic if they don't. This is exactly the same as churches saying sexual orientation is a choice and that you can go through conversion therapy. The only difference being you're replacing God with social justice. It's disgusting no matter which side you're on, because either way, you're trying to bully someone into fucking people they don't want to fuck. And I can't believe we're having this discussion nearly 3 years after the Riley Dennis video that kicked off this debate.
So, this was a quick PSA episode for any of those people that keep posting that stuff, because I keep seeing these people saying these stories and stuff.
Well then drop this bullshit argument and stop trying to bully people into being attracted to trannies.
And it's really annoying me because it's painting into this corner of the trans people are coming to do horrible things to you for their trans agenda, that they're forcing you, that they're the oppressive class, taking away your rights to be gay or lesbian or whatever. And it's just not true.
How the actual fuck is it not true when you consistently tell these people that they're transphobic if they don't want to fuck trans people? I would be labeled as a creep if I told some woman she was bigoted if she didn't sleep with me, so why the hell is it okay for trans people to say people are bigoted for not sleeping with them? You mentioned through about 30 seconds of word salad that this argument frames trans people as sexual predators, but this bullying people into sleeping with them with the transphobia excuse is literally feeding that argument. That's no different than a man telling a woman she's a prude for not wanting to sleep with him, and y'all attack the shit out of guys that do that. This rules for me but not for thee bullshit is literally causing the alphabet community to lose support they worked for decades to gain, within only 5 years of gaining enough support to have marriage equality legalized. And honestly, if you don't put a lid on it quickly, you're gonna see actual homophobia make one hell of a comeback. Anyway, he repeats himself a lot in the last 5 minutes of this 13-minute word salad of a video, so I'm gonna skip to a couple of relevant clips to contextualize my closing arguments, and then we'll get out of here.
So I didn't talk too much here about preferences because the actual argument behind them seems like a kind of dud, honestly.
Coming from the dud who thinks any argument in support of individual preferences is a bad argument when it's really just common sense.
So a preference is basically you saying that you, over all other things, you have some sort of leaning towards a specific kind of person or kind of thing about a person.
Good job, you define preferences.
But it doesn't mean that you have an exclusivity thing on that kind of thing. For example, you can have a preference for redheads. You would prefer to date someone who's ginger, but you'll still date other people because you're not only exclusively going for that person. In that regard, having a preference for cis women would still mean you'd be okay with dating trans women.
No, I wouldn't. There's a huge fucking difference between hair color and having a dick where you thought a vagina would be. I had a hard time believing that had to be said in previous videos on this topic, and I'm still not sure why we have to repeat it in 2020.
Although the question still remains of how you would know someone is a cis woman or a trans woman.
Well, here's a hint. If her dick is bigger than mine, it's safe to say it's a trans woman. Moving on, I'm sick of repeating myself on this.
Because trans people are very accustomed to being othered and excluded from society generally, and I would prefer if people took actual steps to work with that and to work to fix those problems for them, because honestly, it's kind of unfair.
If you want to take steps to fix that problem, then stop making this argument that you're transphobic if you won't date or sleep with trans people, stop pushing gender transitions onto children, and stop trying to demand that the world cater to you when you make up less than 1% of the world's population. If trans people want to be seen as equals, then they need to be equal and stop demanding special treatment because of their gender identity. No one deserves special treatment, and they're gonna have to deal with the reality that they're different, just like anyone else that's born with some sort of disability. Anyway, that should do it for this video, and I really hope this argument gets laid to rest as it should have been 3 years ago, and not in the way this weirdo thinks. Anyway, if you enjoyed what I had to say despite this being an old topic, smash the like button. If you're new to the channel, you have to subscribe and hit the notification bell, otherwise you're heterophobic. You can follow me on Twitter and BitChute at hey_dude77. I have a TikTok now, please forgive me, and I have my Streamlabs link in the description if you want to make sure I'm not looking up disturbing images in vain. I thank y'all for watching, and until next time, catch y'all later.